are looking at a live view of our Electron rocket vertical and counting down to liftoff from Rocket Lab Launch Complex 2 within the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport on Wallops Island, Virginia. We are T-minus 18 minutes to liftoff of the Don't Be Such a Square launch, carrying STP-S30 for the United States Space Force. Good evening and welcome to the live broadcast of our next Rocket Lab mission from the Eastern Shore. It is great to be with you tonight for Electron's 20th launch of the year. My name is Prachi Saknani, and I am a systems engineer on the Space Systems team.
And my name is Kim Thompson. I am a structural analyst working in the Neutron team. We are joining you from Rocket Lab in New Zealand, while our local team on the ground in Virginia are working through launch preparations for tonight's mission. The rocket, the payload, and the range are all ready for launch, and we are 80% favourable with the weather this evening over Wallops Island. Liftoff is set for 3 minutes past midnight Eastern local time, or 21:03 Pacific time, where we've got the team standing by at Rocket Lab HQ in Long Beach, California, to watch STP-S30 launch to space in just 17 minutes.
Don't Be Such a Square is a nod to the disc-shaped spacecraft on board Electron for the STP-S30 mission. STP refers to the Space Force's Space Test Program, which provides opportunities for emerging technologies to be tested in space that could have useful applications for future defense missions. STP-S30's payload includes 4 DiskSats developed by the Aerospace Corporation that would be an alternative to the common CubeSat form factor.
Stacked like pancakes, DiskSats are light, flat, disc-shaped satellites that could be much cheaper and quicker to build en masse. The DiskSats being deployed today will test out their propulsion systems and solar performance, as well as their ability to fly at lower altitude orbits than traditional spacecraft. Here's more from the development team, the Aerospace Corporation.
Aerospace Corporation and its extensive knowledge of government space programs and the needs associated with those programs, Aerospace designed this new form factor to address those needs. You could resize your DiskSat to fit the different fairing sizes of the different launch vehicles. So there's the key scalability aspect. And with that in mind, you can bring an entire constellation of DiskSats with you in a single launch.
For DiskSat, they will get integrated with the launch vehicle at Wallops spaceflight facility, and then they will launch on an Electron rocket, a Rocket Lab rocket, and roughly about 45 minutes after launch, they will start getting deployed, and they'll come out one at a time. There's a couple minutes in between each disk is its deployment, and then there'll be free flyers at that point.
The primary mission is to demonstrate and to understand the performance, functionality, maneuverability of the DiskSat buses on orbit, and particularly in low Earth orbit or LEO and very low Earth orbit or VLEO. From the very beginning of this effort, we've been really focused on not only the success of the demo mission, but also how we can work with industry and government partners and academia.
I'm thrilled to see DiskSat be this close to launch. We've been working on it for over 3 years to develop a new mission concept, a new form factor for the small spacecraft industry, and we think this new technology will be disruptive to the small spacecraft enterprise and ecosystem.
I think that the DiskSat has a bright future. I think there are a lot of missions, especially communications or radar type of missions, that could benefit from this format vehicle with a large surface area. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how customers will make use of the platform, or other industrial partners might be able to take it further.
Aerospace's commitment to accelerating innovation is evidenced by its partnership with government agencies to push the technology beyond where it is today.
We have, the small sat community, there's so much going on, there's so many advancements, and to have DiskSat be a part of that community and be a part of all that's happening and enable these new science and exploration missions, looking about applications maybe beyond geo, I think having that place in all of that and what's going on right now and in the future, I think would be really, really exciting to see happen.
These DiskSats are really thinking outside the box, packing down to just under 150 kilograms in total for today's launch. While they were developed by the Aerospace Corp, this mission is also supported by NASA's Small Spacecraft and Distributed Systems Program in collaboration with the Space Systems Command, the Space Test Program, and the Rocket Systems Launch Program.
This launch marks our 78th launch of our Electron rocket. Electron stands 18 metres tall, or 59 feet, and can carry up to 320 kilograms of payload to space on a dedicated mission. Starting from the top of the rocket, we have Electron's payload fairing. That is where the DiskSats are safely inside their dispenser attached to the kick stage, which is Electron's payload deployment vehicle. We use the kick stage to circularize and raise orbits to release each mission's satellites to their precise orbital destinations.
That's right, and below the kick stage are Electron's second and first stages. The second stage includes a single vacuum-optimized Rutherford engine, while the bottom of the first stage contains 9 sea-level engines. Now, the Rutherford is pretty unique as far as rocket engines go. It's the world's first 3D printed rocket engine, and it's also the first electric pump-fed engine to power an orbital-class rocket. We use batteries across our engines to power the electric motor, which drives the propellant pumps, and you'll be able to see those batteries in action during the Stage 2 flight today.
Electron is also majority carbon fiber, from its main structures through to its internal propellant tanks. This is another world-first use of technology for our launch vehicle. Where Electron is striped white is where liquid oxygen propellant is being loaded into the vehicle for launch. Otherwise, Electron looks almost entirely black from that carbon fiber. Standing there on the pad, Electron is tracking no issues in the lead up to liftoff. The weather continues to look clear, and the range is ready to support launch from Rocket Lab Launch Complex 2 within the VSA's Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport on Wallops Island.
LC-2 is the second of 2 dedicated launch sites for Electron. Launch Complex 1, established in New Zealand almost a decade ago, is the world's first private orbital launch site, and it is a critical feature of Electron's responsive launch capability. But here in Virginia, Launch Complex 2 also provides the government with a domestic launch option for small satellites and hypersonic launches on both Electron and our suborbital rocket HASTE, crucial for national security and technology development for the nation. HASTE stands for Hypersonic Accelerator Suborbital Test Electron, and it is our answer to lowering the cost barrier and increasing the launch cadence of research payloads at hypersonic velocities.
Today's STP-S30 mission follows 3 back-to-back HASTE launches we've completed from LC-2 in recent months, taking hypersonic testing for the US government from years between launches to just weeks. And that reliability and repeatability is crucial to supporting America's defensive systems, which we are proud to do with our missions from LC-2 to date and the launch of STP-S30 tonight.
And of course, right next door to LC-2 is Rocket Lab's Launch Complex 3, our newly built test, launch, and landing site within the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport for our newer and much larger rocket, Neutron. When our reusable medium-lift rocket launches for the first time from Virginia next year, it will provide the largest lift capacity in the spaceport's history, up to 13 tons of satellite and cargo to low Earth orbit right here from the Eastern Shore. With Launch Complex 3 open and ready for launch, it means that soon Neutron flight hardware will be arriving at the site for integrated systems testing and the rocket's first launch readiness campaign.
In fact, en route to Virginia right now is Neutron's distinctive payload fairing, the Hungry Hippo. Now, Neutron is unlike any other rocket that's been built before, and one of its most unique features is its reusable fairing halves that remain attached to the rocket stage throughout launch and landing back to Earth. While most other rocket fairings open up and then fall away during launch, Neutron's Hungry Hippo fairing opens and closes within seconds to allow its second stage to continue to orbit. What then comes back to Earth is a single reusable vehicle with fairing halves still attached, a specific design choice we made to enable rapid and cost-effective reuse of Neutron to launch, land, and repeat.
And the Hungry Hippo has recently cleared its qualification and acceptance testing campaigns, and the vision of those payload fairing halves opening and closing during those tests is a sight to see. Check it out for yourself.
So we're going to open in 10 seconds time.
And there you go. And if you've ever wondered what a Hungry Hippo sounds like, you heard it right there in that clip.
Well, I'd love a moment to share some of the stats behind the Hungry Hippo's qualification campaign too. We put that entire fairing through all the load cases it can expect it will experience during launch and landing, including up to 275,000 pounds of force across its carbon composite structure. This simulates the load experienced during max Q, when Neutron will experience maximum aerodynamic pressure. The fastest we opened the fairing halves under flight-like conditions was just 1.5 seconds, which is less than half the time we need to allow for Neutron Stage 2 to separate before reorienting the rocket for its return to Earth. And for the canards you saw in that clip too, we took those structures through combined torque and bending load cases that went beyond what we can expect during Neutron's launch to more than 125%. Now I am so excited to see the Hungry Hippo on its way to Wallops.
NASA RSO LD on countdown.
RSO.
Requesting your go or no-go for launch.
Range safety is go.
NASA TD LD on countdown.
The TD is go.
Copy TD.
And back to tonight's mission. Right now, the weather is tracking green on the eastern shore. The range is clear and the team is ready for flight. Coming up next in the countdown will be the start of Electron's auto sequence, when the rocket's flight computer takes over operations from T-2 through to liftoff. A couple of seconds after that auto sequence starts, the propellant loading process will complete, and we should hear a call out from mission control that confirms this at around T-1.5 minutes to launch.
Soon after that, Electron's propellant tanks will be fully pressed for launch. By then, we should be within a minute of Electron's liftoff for the STP-S30 mission, with the rocket scheduled to light up its engines at 2 seconds before T0 for an on-time launch.
Let's hand it back to mission control to listen through all of that final count, and we will be back with you shortly after launch. Go STP-S30.
To all stations, we are T-minus 3 minutes and counting. The 3-word procedure is now in effect. From now on, there should be no red flags in your critical LCCs. Beacon LD on countdown.
LD beacon.
Please lock the auto sequence and confirm.
Auto sequence is locked.
Confirm all flight computer ASGOs are green.
All ASGOs are green.
We are go for auto sequence start at T-minus 2 minutes, and LD is go for launch.
The vehicle is fully on internal power. RF reception is nominal, AFTS is green and enabled for flight.
Oxide is complete, system is in recirc. Anti-geysering is disabled.
Stage 1 and 2 tanks suppressed for flight.
High flow engine approach enabled.
T-minus 20 seconds and counting.
Deluge activated.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Beginning pitch over.
Stage 1 propulsion nominal.
A beautiful, clean liftoff from Rocket Lab Launch Complex 2 on the eastern shore. There goes Electron in full flight for the STP-S30 mission. We are T plus 45 seconds post liftoff, and Electron's velocity is climbing past 700 kilometers an hour, now at just past 5 kilometers above Earth. We are quickly approaching the moment of maximum aerodynamic pressure, otherwise known as max Q, which is when the forces against the rocket are at their peak.
Vehicle is supersonic, approaching max Q. Clear max Q.
Electron has cleared max Q and is continuing its southeastern trajectory off the coast of Virginia out over the Atlantic Ocean. The first stage's Rutherford engines are at full thrust to take the launch vehicle past 2,000 kilometers an hour, now more than 23 kilometers above Earth. You can keep an eye on Electron's trajectory with the dials in the top corner of your screen there. That nominal altitude and velocity means we're quickly approaching the next scheduled event for Electron, separation of the stages at approximately T plus 2 minutes and 44 seconds into flight.
What's about to happen is we'll see the Rutherford engines on the bottom of the first stage throttle down to slow Electron just a bit before the engines shut off completely. As you see happening there on your screen, we have main engine cutoff, also known as MECO. The second stage will then separate from the first stage, just a couple seconds ahead of the engine on stage 2, igniting to continue the mission to orbit. These three events have already started to take place, so we're just going to sit back and watch these happen on our camera lives as we listen into mission control for the callouts.
Beacon confirmed.
Stage separation confirmed.
Stage 2 ignition confirmed.
That is MECO, stage separation, and second stage engine startup complete on Electron for the STP-S30 mission. A nice, clean set of events that sets us up for fairing jettison in under a minute.
Yes, now that we have cleared the lower atmosphere, we jettison Electron's 2 nose cone halves to drop the excess mass from stage 2, and the DiskSats get their first taste of space. Just a few seconds away from that fairing jettison taking place, so let's bring back up the mission control comms to listen in and watch along.
HVP discharge holding nominal.
Fairing jettison confirmed.
We are T in just about 4 minutes into flight there, and the mission is proceeding nominally as Electron continues to orbit, now at more than 8,200 kilometers an hour, with its altitude at just past 160 kilometers. We've got a couple of minutes before our next event to take place on the second stage, the battery hot swap. This milestone keeps the second stage Rutherford engine burning across its entire engine burn time. Now, to get to that initial 550 kilometer target, the second stage Rutherford engine on your screen has an engine burn time just shy of 7 minutes before the kick stage is separated and sent on its way with the DiskSats. To keep the engine burning for the full duration, we need to swap out the batteries that are powering the engine's fuel pumps. They end up becoming fully depleted after about 4 minutes of use, so before we run out, Electron performs a battery hot swap to switch to a new battery pack that keeps the engine running. We'll hear a few callouts from mission control in the lead up to that moment. HVB discharge holding nominal refers to the high voltage batteries that are currently in use, with the operator letting us know that those batteries are performing as they should before another reminder about 30 seconds before the actual hot swap.
And when that hot swap happens, you should see the silver battery packs on your screen disconnect and disappear, which will be our visual confirmation that all was nominal with that event. Hot swap is scheduled to occur in approximately T plus 6 minutes, 40 seconds, so let's listen in and watch out for it now.
Guidance is nominal, 200 seconds remaining.
HVP discharge holding nominal, approaching hot swap in roughly 30 seconds.
Throttling down.
Battery jettison confirmed.
Confirmed hot swap successful.
And with that, we've completed the hot swap maneuver for Electron's second stage, with the Rutherford engine continuing to burn bright and nominal on its way for the next staging event. We're clocking more than 14,700 kilometers an hour as Electron continues to climb above 275 kilometers in altitude. We are right on target to deliver the STP-S30 mission to its nominal transfer orbit ahead of payload deployment to our 550-kilometer LEO destination. Once they're deployed, the 4 DiskSats will operate in pairs. One pair will remain at 550 kilometers above Earth to test out operations at that altitude, while the other pair will maneuver into what's known as Very Low Earth Orbit, or VLEO, which is considered to be between 300 and 450 kilometers above Earth.
All right, well, coming up next will be the second stage engine cutoff, or SECO. This maneuver follows relatively the same procedure as main engine cutoff, where the Rutherford engine on the second stage will shut off ahead of the final separation of the vehicle between the second stage and the kick stage. There will be a bit of a gap between that final separation and payload deployment, as the stage separation places the kick stage in an elliptical orbit of Earth first. So we'll explain what happens then after we receive confirmation from Mission Control, first of SECO and then stage separation.
We are now T plus 8.5-ish minutes into flight, and the second stage engine continues to burn, but very quickly we are approaching SECO, or second engine cutoff. Soon the Rutherford will throttle down before shutting off to maintain a steady state for the kick stage and its payload during the separation event. We'll get a guidance as terminal callout at 20 seconds before the engine shuts down, so let's listen out now for Mission Control and keep an eye on your screen for that red hot nozzle to start turning cold at SECO.
SECO confirmed.
Nominal transfer orbit achieved.
Stage separation confirmed.
And there we have it. Second engine cutoff is confirmed, and the kick stage has been separated from Electron with its DiskSat payload. With that, we are successfully in a staging orbit ahead of payload deployment for STP-S30 in approximately 50 minutes. Now, what that means is that the kick stage will now coast around Earth in an elliptical orbit. Once it connects the dots on the other side, the kick stage's Curie engine will fire up to circularize its trajectory at a 550-kilometer altitude before payload deployment can begin one by one for the 4 DiskSats on board.
We're going to leave you with this tracking graphic of the kick stage's trajectory to keep an eye on where it is, but take a break, stretch your legs, and we'll be back with you just before payload deployment begins for STP-S30. We'll see you back here soon.